Welcome back, everybody. BK to Qatar special. Yes, we are back. Like I suggested before the World Cup cycle began, we are going to Qatar. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I myself will be on the plane to Qatar. Unfortunately, not with the USMNT, but as a traveling supporter and traveling fan of the game. All right. We're going to talk today about a million things. All right. I hope you guys can take a couple nuggets away, a different perspective, something different that's been discussed online. Obviously, we're all up in arms with the performances of the last FIFA window against Japan and Saudi Arabia. But let's start off with the jersey reveal show over here. Nah, come on, guys. We're all up in arms about our jerseys. These are the old ones anyway. Listen, the new jerseys are a reflection of our field product. Shocking, to say the least. In all our previous episodes, when I discussed early in the cycle, the player pool, who should be there, who shouldn't be there, the outlooks, the CONCACAF Nations League, the Gold Cup, the common theme, the thesis, everything that I came with was about graduating to the next level at the international level, okay? Because we've always been a country that has grit, we always compete, we always work hard, work our socks off, we get stuck in, we run around the pitch, but did we ever really have an identity? And have we graduated? Listen, failing to go to the World Cup, and now that we went to the World Cup, is that progress? Absolutely not. It was a given that we were going to go to Qatar. Based on this little bubble that we live in, based on the region that we play in. We're limited to playing CONCACAF. Talked about that at multiple episodes. We're only playing against CONCACAF. By the way, the weakest version of Mexico that I can remember in my lifetime. So, guys, we have a false sense of reality that was really, really exposed this last FIFA window, and we're going to touch that topic thoroughly here in this episode. All right, back to the identity question. Do we have one? Like, really, everybody talks about the system and Berhalter's system and players that can't fit the system and player profile. What system are we talking about? Do you honestly see a team identity when you tune in, no matter the opponent, no matter the venue, for our U.S. men's national team in this 4-year cycle? Do we? Now, amp it up when we're not playing Guatemala or El Salvador or Honduras, all due respect to those countries, when we play Wales and Cardiff, and we couldn't create one shot on goal until minute 70-something. When we played against the Swiss in that European FIFA friendly. When we played anybody of relevance, this last FIFA window against the Asian teams, against Japan and Saudi Arabia, please, guys, please don't tell me that these are world-class opponents now. We want to graduate to the level, the tier, just underneath the world powers. That's the progress that we've been discussing, and how we were going to get there, what player profile we need to get there, what players need to be elevated to get there, okay? And we're not there, all right? We're nowhere near showing any sign of graduating to the next level when it comes to the world game. I mean, we were sold this bag of goods. Opening press conference, Greg Berhalter, we're going to have this system of play. We're going to have this identity. We're going to own the ball. We're going to build out of the back. We're going to break lines. We're going to create multiple chances. We're going to be flying and moving the opposition, disorganizing them with the ball. Have you seen any disorganizing with the ball? It's kind of hard to do so with the players that have been selected in recent memory and through the whole cycle. Next thing I want to talk about, guys, is how worried are we, right, after this FIFA window? Should we be worried? Okay, you look at Greg Berhalter, the coach, when he's at the press conference now. Does he convince you? He doesn't look as convinced as he used to be. He looks rattled, right? Looks rattled, and he gives generic answers. And then when he gets questioned a little bit, he talks nonsense. So he does not transmit confidence at all at this moment in time after this FIFA window. We have plummeted. The players, do they transmit confidence? I mean, you saw the swag, the Weston McKennie, having jokes, laughing with Tyler Adams. Tyler's a more serious guy. Weston joking around, great, that's their personality. Did it look that way after Japan? After we got played off the park? After we got slapped by Japan 2-0? Could have been way worse. Looked like a different approach to me, okay? The media, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and slam and say the media's this, and the media's compromised, the media's the friends, but I think one of the big pundits said himself that the media flew on the same charter flight from Germany to Spain in between the Japan and Saudi Arabia game What is that? If that is not a problem and compromise and shows that everybody's in bed together, I don't know what does. So is the media worried? They're softball worried. They throw a couple nuggets in here. They start scapegoating, questioning Greg a little bit. Is the social media world, are we worried? Man, if you saw and followed up on everybody online, they're going bananas, and rightfully so, guys. It was an embarrassing FIFA window leading up to the World Cup. Confidence is at an all-time low. Forecasting, I mean, the reality is, guys, with those performances, we can't expect much, okay? Like I said, the media, the coach, the players, nobody exudes confidence at the moment in time. We're not peaking at the right time. Players are not peaking at the right time. The staff has taken a hit. I want to talk about Nico Estevez later on this episode. But bottom line, guys, we're not in a good place, and it's going to take a miracle. Miracles do happen in soccer, few and far between, but we have the fortune that we have the weakest group in the World Cup, and that is, I mean, on paper, a fact. England, who everybody raves about and says is a favorite and this and that and Euro Cup finalists, have you seen England? Yeah, Nations League, they're just friendlies, they're glorified friendlies. Nobody wants to lose to Hungary. Nobody wants to win 0 out of 6 games. England is in shocking form and has similar problems that we have. Massive overhyped player pool like they always do, and then completely underperforming, underperform when it comes times to crunch time at World Cup time. Their media, at least, is hard-nosed and hammers the hell out of them. But that's not what's significant here, nor do we care about England and their media or their team. England, poor opponent. Wales, their best player plays here on LAFC. The best player's been on vacation in Real Madrid and now LAFC for years now. They got to the World Cup. They have an okay player pool, but it's Wales, ladies and gentlemen. We're not playing anybody of relevance. And then Iran. Iran's got a couple of match-winning talents. You know, Taremi from Porto, very good player. But again, guys, we're concerned about Iran, and we're talking about graduating to the next level. 3 softball opponents, we should 1,000% get out of the group. If we don't, it is the biggest failure of all time. But guess what? If and when we don't, the scapegoat has been built by the narrative has been created for a while now. We're the youngest team in the World Cup. We have the youngest roster. Well, that's by choice, guys. And listen, Belgium didn't go to the World Cup in Brazil 2014 with their golden generation like we're hyping ours and say, well, guys, we're a little bit young right now. We'll see how we do. No, they went with super high expectations. And yes, they got bounced by Argentina after humiliating us in the round of 16. They got bounced by Argentina in the quarterfinals. Very good Argentina that made the final, and Argentina with Messi, and Argentina that you can say whatever you will. But Belgium didn't go with a pretext like we're going about the youngest team in the World Cup. All right? So listen, we have the narrative, we have the scapegoat in that we have the youngest team. I mean, if we are terrible and lose all 3 games, then I guess poor Berhalter will have to be whacked and we'll have to move in a different direction. I doubt any of that happens. Next thing I want to talk about, guys, a brief series recap. If you have not watched the previous series that I've done on this USMNT, it's about the player pool. It's about the guys that should be locks. John Brooks was my first episode, I believe, when it comes to the player pool. John Brooks, is he a lock these days? Far from a lock, and nobody knows why. Everybody speculates why. I'm going to speculate why right here. John Anthony Brooks has a skill set. We want to have a system. We want to have an identity of building out of the back, of breaking lines. He was our best player at doing so. He's been erased from the map. We have to put up our hands and ask why. Okay? Speculation, at least BK speculation, is something happened along the way where John Brooks wasn't an obedient young boy like we like in our country. Every single staff in our country wants you to bow down and kiss the ring and say yes. Okay? And there is no exception here when it comes to the USMNT. John Anthony Brooks is not that guy that's going to go and kiss your ring, Greg Berhalter. He's the guy that's going to question tactics. He's the guy that's going to question training sessions. He's going to ask why. And I speculate that that is exactly what happened to John Anthony Brooks. Don't tell me it's because, we know what he can do. BS, okay? Don't tell me now, he hasn't played football in 6 months. Well, has Ricardo Pepi played football in 6 months? Has Christian Pulisic played football in 6 months? Has Aaron Long going to be playing football in 6 months? There's so many players. Jordan Morris is out of the playoffs. Is he playing football now? So don't give a scapegoat. Jonathan Brooks should be a lock on this USMNT. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay? He is the most pivotal piece. If we want to own a game, if we want to graduate to the next level, he is our most experienced guy, and we're whacking him. We have erased him from existence. Chris Richards was the other lock, right? Young guy back when I started this thing. Told you he was going to be the guy, and lo and behold, he should be the guy. But we have a center back pairing that can't pass out of the back. We have a center back pairing that plays their football domestically. Listen, Aaron Long is what he is. Walker Zimmerman, who's got back-to-back MLS pedigree, Defender of the Year things. Yes, great. You have all the time and space in the world when you play in our league. It's no knock on MLS. It is a reality. It is a fact. It's something that I've been discussing for eternity, okay? People here, the tactics, in 90% of the games, is a relaxed feel about it. Midfielders have time and space to operate, countless time on the ball. So center backs as well. Guess what? A little itsy-bitsy pressure, mid-block pressure by Japan, and it was game over. We can't ask those guys who, it's not even in their skill set, who play in a very relaxed environment, who play in a very relaxed league, to go and do it and graduate us at the international level. There's no question about it. It needs to be Brooks and Chris Richards. Not because they play just in Europe. They have a better skill set for this identity that we've been sold. And they have what it takes and are competing day in and day out for their jobs. Champions League, promotion, relegation, training at Bayern Munich, now at Palace, fighting for their lives every day at Palace. The Walker Zimmerman's fighting for his position. Is he fighting for his life every day? There's so much to touch on, guys. When we talk about series recap, Pepi and Ferreira are nines. I discussed those guys. This is something that I want everybody to follow because we have to raise questions. These are guys that were given chances, okay? These guys were part of the Guadalajara 2021 spring in Guadalajara, Olympic qualifying. You guys remember that? The Jason Christ scapegoat fiasco. Well, Pepi and Jesus Ferreira, along with Sebastian Soto, were the nines in camp. Pepi was cut at the end of a 2-week camp right before the Olympic qualifying tournament started. Pepi didn't even make that roster, and it's not because his skill set was bad. He was long and far the worst player on that roster. His form in camp was terrible, and he produced nothing. Listen, credit to Ricardo Pepi, who went on to have a great MLS season, who scored a ton of goals, who got his opportunity with the USMNT, not because he deserved one. He got his opportunity because it was the battle, US-Mexico. Is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? So he was given an opportunity, and the guy sees his opportunity. There's no question he scored goals. Do with us, bail us out of trouble. But now, Pepi hasn't played in forever. Yet, he's okay. He was given multiple chances to resurface his career in the national team after that fiasco of a tournament in Guadalajara. And Jesus Ferreira the same. 2 of the 3 nines going to the Qatar World Cup were part of that disastrous group, which we scapegoated Christ for. We put 0 blame on the players and their form. Food for thought, guys, okay? When it comes to players and opportunities for our USMNT and profiles. What do we got next, guys? I want to talk about Nico Estevez. Nico Estevez, current coach of FC Dallas, former assistant coach of Greg Berhalter on the U.S. men's national team and during his time in Columbus. I like to think was the brains of the operation in terms of attempting to instill a team identity through his upbringing, through his football knowledge, through his experiences at Valencia in Spanish football during their peak period. In terms of rubbing off on Greg, who was a young coach and didn't have these experiences. Nico Estevez, since his departure, I think there's been a massive void when it comes to our system, our identity, our player pool, our communication with Mexican-American dual nationals. I think there's been a huge void, guys. I don't think this has been highlighted enough. Nico Estevez has had a fantastic season at FC Dallas. taking them to a high seeding, I think the third seed in the West Conference, MLS playoffs, instilled a little bit of an identity in that group with FC Dallas. So nobody talks about Nico Estevez. Huge loss, in my opinion, for a USMNT, somebody that frequently stayed in touch with our Mexican-American dual nationals consistently, and we'll check in on how their progress is since his departure. Silence on that front. Another topic that we'll talk about today is the player pool and the national team, how they come hand in hand, and how their careers could potentially be elevated by participating and being called up to national team. I don't want to waste an hour on this, but players like Gianluca Busio, Tanner Tessman, Daryl Dike, Sam Vines, Brendan Aronson, Ricardo Pepi, George Bayo. You could go on and on and on. Who else did I miss from my list here? Paul Arriola, Jordan Morris, Luca Del Torre, Sebastian Soto. All of these guys were elevated, were called into camps, whether they merited the opportunity or didn't merit it, were given caps, whether they deserved caps or didn't deserve caps, and it elevated their careers, right? Brendan Aronson, remember him being called in early and often in Camp Cupcakes. I remember going to Miami and watching him play El Salvador's D team. Brendan Aronson was shocking in that game as well. Like, certain players are afforded opportunities consistently, no matter what their performance is. And listen, Brendan has done tremendous for himself at Salzburg, but would he have been given these opportunities? Who knows? Would he be a Leeds United player if it wasn't for his participation on the USMNT? Busio, capped, sold to Venezia. Tessman, capped, sold to Venezia. Daryl Dike, capped, championship sale. On and on and on and on. Sebastian Soto, opportunities. So let's say Richie Ledesma would have been capped and not put on the wing for 5-10 minutes. Yeah, Richie Ledesma, people are going to say, oh, he was injured, Brian. He's not. Listen, his skill set, a player like that, if you want to elevate and graduate, needs to be on the USMNT and played centrally as a creator. Would he be a starter in PSV? If he gets capped and elevated, if he gets taken to the World Cup right now. Alex Mendes, would he have been a starter at Ajax had he been capped and elevated, like player XYZ that I just named? These are things to think about, guys, when we talk about our player pool, when we talk about what players are elevated, what player profiles are always sought after and elevated left and right. These are food for thought, okay? Yes, I named Richie, I named Alex, guys that in any senior national team where we want to graduate and play the style of play that we've been sold that we're going to play, especially in our weak region, should no doubt be in the player pool, especially given the fact of everybody's punching bags. Christian Roldan and Jordan Morris and all these other guys that I named, Tanner Tessman and Gianluca Busio and Matthew Hoppe. Hoppe's another example of someone that was elevated and got opportunities and sold to Mallorca and now to Boro. Listen, he deserved what he got because he was killing at Schalke. But ever since then, nothing, okay? These types of players, guys, Pepi going to Qatar as one of the strikers for our senior men's national team, it is just ludicrous to me. Pepi is a good U20 player for our U20 team that's preparing for next summer's World Cup. That's what Pepi is today. Yet he's being afforded another opportunity. Oh, because he scored a goal in Honduras once upon a time. Unbelievable how our national team that wants to graduate and grow is heading and what players are selected. It's unbelievable at this moment in time. Last thing, guys, I want to close with is something I just saw on Amazon Prime. Coco Basile, Argentine coach, old guy now, retired a long time ago, coach of the Argentina national team in 91 and 93 when they won the Copa America, coach of the Argentina national team, the 94 World Cup here. Guy that's coached Messi and Maradona, talked about what a national team boss needs to prioritize. He talked about personality to be on a national team, okay? You have to have a personality to put on the shirt and that it doesn't weigh on you, meaning that your club form is the same or better with the national team. He talked about forming societies and partnerships, right? Left winger, left back, right winger, right back, central midfield, center backs, attacking players. do we have partnerships? Are you telling me that Christian Pulisic and the Jedi is a good partnership? They have good chemistry. They speak the same soccer language. I'll stop there. He talks about players that can get rhythm fast, meaning you get called into a camp or you get called up to the World Cup. Do you pick up rhythm fast? Are you lucid? Are you bright? Do you understand the information? Do you apply it right away? Those players are critical to form a good national team. And he talked about guys that are good within the group, that fit good within the group. When the group has been built, which this group has been built for 3 or 4 years now, any new player that comes into the group, does he fit and transition right in, know his role, add to the group instead of taking away from the group? So these are all little subtleties that we don't look at as casual fans, that the coach with the coaching hat has to put on and evaluate. So when you ask yourself why Christian Roldan is there, he's there to be that guy that he said, the vibe guy, right? When you ask yourself, why is Jordan Morris there? Well, Jordan Morris isn't going to put a sour face when he's on the bench and doesn't play. Things to think about, guys. Listen, we're going to cover this all the way through. I'm going to Qatar. I'm going to post things live from Qatar. I'm happy to be back engaging. If there's 1 or 2 or 3 things that caught your attention that you want to discuss, I want to do a Q&A right away. Listen, you could agree or disagree. My word is not the gospel. I'm just here like all of you guys are, to get our product to be better, to demand better, to elevate our national team, to graduate our national team, to give you guys my 2 cents when it comes to these things. All right? There's so many other people doing good work. There's so many other people asking good questions. We all got to keep up the good fight. And yeah, guys, the reality is, if you weren't masticating anger, if you weren't fucking furious watching our national team play, it's been the story of my life. I want to see the progress that has never been delivered, right? 40 plus years of following our USMNT. And now, when our golden generation was supposed to be elevated and take us to the next level, I'm going to Qatar with my hands up in the air, not knowing what it is we're going to see. Question marks galore against Wales. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I have the consolation that I also am going to put on the light blue and white and go see Argentina, who is a heavy favorite along with Brazil. Those 2 national teams, I don't think the Europeans can take it from either of those this World Cup. But again, it all comes down to form, individual, tournament play, 1 bad day and you're out. So they have the fortune that they have been a united group for this whole cycle. They have an identity, both those teams do, and they get along. They enjoy each other's company. So they have the talent, they have the coach, they have the identity, they have the group. Good luck to the France or the Holland or the Belgium that don't tick all those boxes. Good luck when you only have 1 week to prep before the World Cup, all right? That's going to be another one of our excuses. Oh, we didn't have time to work and build the system of, the channel play and the running wide, Paul Arriola. Can't believe we're still talking about Paul Arriola repping our senior men's national team jersey. I can't believe we're still talking about players like Jordan Morris repping our thing and trying to get to the next level. I still can't believe we're talking about the Jedi being the guy. Not when we have this system of breaking lines, disorganizing our opponent with the ball. It all changed, ladies and gentlemen. Disorganized with the Jedi, with Aaron Long, with Matt Turner, with the Walker Zimmerman, with 4 of the 5 building blocks to disorganize and build out of the back. Can't handle the rock under pressure. Disorganized when Tyler Adams, it's painful to watch him try to break lines. He's there to destroy and play to the guys that can create. Eunice can create on the dribble in terms of driving the game forward. No creativity in the final third. Weston McKennie, listen, can disorganize by running hard off the ball, getting on the end of something in the box, by breaking people off the ball, by being a physical presence, by being a set piece winner. Not a creative bone in his body in the final third at the international level. And then we ask ourselves why Gio is on an island, why he gets sporadic touches. By the way, Gio hasn't played football in 6-9 months, just like Brooks, but he's there consistently, no problem. Christian Pulisic doesn't look a shade of his normal self. We want our 9, Ferreira, who's criticized because he plays here in MLS, and he's not a big 6'4" guy like Jordan or like P-Fuck. Guys, we ask all these questions. It's so clear. we're selecting the wrong guys. All right? We will touch on who it would be, Brian. Well, it sure wouldn't be those guys that I just named. James Sands can connect passes, can build out of the back. Not got the profile for it, but he's the right guy. I already told you about Brooks and Richards. Those are the guys. Obviously, Brendan Aronson can play football. Gio can play football. Christian can play football. Jesus can play football. One destroyer on the field. Let's get Adams there. Eunice can be part of the group. Weston can be part of the group. No questions. Vines has technique and brains. Maybe not international pedigree, but within our region, we would dominate. Dest has it. Those types of profiles, guys. Our U20 team that just crushed CONCACAF again, right? Look at the profiles. Jonathan Gomez, Mauricio Cuevas. Those are the profiles of outside backs that I'm talking about. Center back, Brandon Craig. Is he athletic enough? Does it translate to the next level? Maybe not, but that's the profile player that we need that can play, that can break lines with his passing, right? You look at that midfield. Alvarado can play and can defend. Diego Luna, those types of profiles. Paxton Aronson, that profile. Not Cade Cowell. Not Cade Cowell. We have to cast that aside if we want to graduate. Enough for me. I'm parched. I hope I didn't lose you or drop your interest. Let's keep engaging. Let's go.